This is Tyler Lewis here with Phenon Hoops. We're honored today to have Sean McDermott, Butler legend, Memphis Grizzlies guard. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So you are one of my favorite players I got to play with, one of the best shooters I got to play with. Growing up, when did you realize that you were going to be the player that you are today?
Honestly, I don't think there was ever a time where I was like, oh, I can be really good, because in my mind, I'm not as good as I want to be. So it's kind of been a thing where I want to improve each and every day. But I think maybe when I started to notice that there was a shot to do something was going into my 8th grade year. I took the time to just change my shot. And I felt like that's kind of separated me from people where I spent 3 months just working on my form. A lot of guys were just out goofing around, playing outside, playing pickup, and I decided to take the time and just work on my shot and shoot from 10 feet and in. And I felt like maybe I had a little different mindset as far as basketball went than other kids my age in that area. So I thought maybe I could make something out of it, but I never thought it would reach the point that it's at now.
No, you absolutely worked your tail off from the moment I met you till I know you're still doing the same thing now. Can you kind of describe your work ethic from what it takes to get to where you are right now?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot, but honestly, I don't think it's like I'm out here doing something that I don't enjoy. I love working on my game. It's fun to me to get in the gym for hours throughout the day. It's not like it's a process that I hate. It's fun to me. So I think I get a lot of enjoyment from the gym. So I spend a lot of time in there, and it's that simple for me.
That's awesome. I mean, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life.
Exactly.
Exactly. Can you kind of explain like the difference of like how different it is from like high school basketball to college to the NBA, like just the jump from each level to level?
Yeah, I think the first thing that you notice is just the talent. In high school, you're probably the best player on your team throughout your whole time in high school, honestly. And then you get to college, and for me, I sat on the bench for 2 years, playing behind guys like you, Kellen Dunham, Roosevelt Jones, like really good players that deserve to be playing in front of me. And it pushed me to have to work on my game. So I think the talent, and then now going from college to here, where again, in college, your last couple of years, you probably end up being one of the best players on your team, to now it's that same thing all over again, where you're at the bottom of the totem pole and you have to work your way up. So I think talent is the first thing, and then just the speed of the game increases at every level. You go from high school to college, and it seems like the game's moving 1,000 miles an hour. And now being at this level, and the athletes that are playing in the NBA, the game just seems to even speed up more. So those are the two biggest adjustments I think I've seen so far.
And I love your story. You kind of mentioned like your first 2 years in college, you didn't play a lot, and you redshirted your freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's journey is different. I think for high school kids, that they just think like it's a one and done or two and done type players. Like your journey is so different. How did you stay positive throughout those 2 years of your first couple years in college of not playing so much?
Yeah, I think the first year was really tough for me, because again, you're coming off the season, your high school season, where you play all the time, you're the star player on your team. And then to come in and be told you're not good enough, you have to redshirt, and we're going to take the year to develop you, was tough. But once you kind of get over yourself, you just figure out that it's an opportunity to get better. And I took those 2 years where I wasn't really playing a ton to work on my game, watch guys that were ahead of me, pick their brains a little bit, pick up things from their game, and just learn from it. And then the off season is a time to grind and spend your time in the gym and don't be distracted by other things. I think that's what I did. And it really helped me going into that third year in college, where my game kind of took a jump, and then each summer after that continued to take a jump.
No, I agree. I feel like every year that you were there at Butler, like your confidence just took off to a whole nother level, and your game just continued to improve day in, day out. What is the biggest lesson that you kind of learned from basketball, whether it's from little league to now in NBA?
I think it's that hard work and dedication can really take you places. I'm not like an elite athlete. I'm not out here making all these moves, getting by people, but I found my niche. I work hard at it, and it's carried me to a point where now I'm playing the game at the highest level. I'm enjoying myself. Like you said, I enjoy it so much. I'm not even working, having a lot of fun with the game, and it's taken me places that I could have never even imagined. So I think just the hard work can really take you to a lot of different places.
For sure. And that's no matter what you do, as long as you work hard, normally you're going to be successful, whether it's being a businessman, being a basketball player, whatever you do, hard work is going to take you to the next level. Who has been sort of like, go ahead.
Like find what you're good at, and ride with it. Like I said, I know my skill set. I know what I do. I'm not going to try and go into other people's lane and try and take their spot when I'm not as good as them at that. So kind of find your niche and run with it.
You're right. Who has been sort of like your biggest role model in your life? Like, who's the person that helped you become the person you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the first thing would be my parents, but that would kind of be probably everybody's answer. My grandpa was a huge impact on my life. But then I think beyond that, my high school coach, Brian Hahn, has been one of my biggest role models on and off the court. I think he's really passionate about the game. I learned a lot from him, but he also really cares about his players off the court too. Kellen Dunham, me, Mark Albers, guys that came through his program that really invested into his program. We still have great relationships with him to this day, and he'll text me once every 2 weeks just to see how things are going, not even on the court. So I think he's had a huge impact on my life.
No, Coach Hahn's awesome. I had a chance to work out with him a couple of times when I was up at Butler a lot.
Yeah.
He knows the game, and he definitely cares.
For sure.
And I think I just think like you at Pendleton and playing with Coach Hahn, like even seeing you and Kellen, like y'all know the game so well, and y'all shoot the crap out of the ball. So I know how much like family and faith mean to you as a person. Mm-hmm. And how has your faith kind of just kept improving? And when did you kind of realize like faith was like the number one thing in your life?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was in a family that went to church every now and then, but we weren't really deeply rooted in our faith, I would say. And, we went to church, and then sports start getting in the way. Youth athlete, you play on Sundays, you travel all over the state playing games. So we kind of drifted away from there. And then my junior year, I got really sick. And I think before that, I was my life was basketball, and that was it. I determined, my self-determination was based on how well I was playing in a basketball game, what other people thought about my game, what people thought about me in general. And then after that, after I got sick, I kind of started to realize life is about a lot more than basketball, but still didn't really dive into my faith until I met my now wife. And she kind of told me, I'm not marrying any guy that isn't deeply rooted in his faith, that doesn't love Jesus more than anything else in his life. And that kind of flipped a switch in my head. How could somebody love Jesus so much? And I started to pursue my faith, and it changed my life. And like you said, it continues to grow every single day. It's not something where oh, you've read the Bible 3 times, you've got it all figured out. It continues to grow every day. We learn, our relationship grows deeper, our love grows deeper. So I still have a lot to learn. I still have a long way to go in that relationship, but it's one that's changed my life.
I know, because I remember your junior year, I think you said, when you got really sick, and probably near death, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you probably had to realize basketball could not be an option, probably, maybe. Yeah. And I know that's a turning point, to show you how much God cares about you and how much. Now look where you're at. It's just so cool to see how God works in your life. What's sort of your motivation on the daily to become the best basketball player person that you can be?
I think basketball player is just driven by my competitiveness. I don't think it's anything else. That's another thing is before I was out to prove every single person that doubted me wrong. That's what drove me in basketball. And now I think it's more as my relationship with Jesus deepened, it was I don't need to get, my self-worth isn't determined by what other people think about me. So if somebody doesn't think I belong here, that's okay. I know that I do. So I'm not out to prove those people wrong anymore. And that's one thing that's changed. But I think just my competitive desire is what pushes me with basketball. And then off the court. I think I just want to be the best person that I can be, and I want to make an impact in other people's lives. I want people to see Jesus through me and the way I live. I want to push people to develop a relationship with God. I mean, I don't think that my impact on earth is determined by that. I don't think it is determined by anything else other than how I lived and if I pointed people to Jesus.
I love it. That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. Being at Butler, the Butler Way's more than a motto. It's kind of like a lifestyle. What does kind of the Butler Way mean to you?
I think it's about giving up yourself for your team, for the people around you, your support system. I think it's about working hard every single day, whether it's on the court, off the court, whatever it may be. But I think ultimately it's about not being caught up in what's going on in your own life, what's going on with your own situation on the court, if you're playing or not, off the court, how everything's going in your life, and kind of moving beyond that and taking a step back and realizing that it's not all about us and that there's people around us that we need to try and help, and just be the best teammate you can be on the court and in life.
No, that's awesome. The Butler Way is something special for sure. One more question for high school kids, like, because we're a recruiting service, we're rating kids, ranking kids.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell kids like not to get caught up in the rankings? Like, it doesn't matter like where you're at now, it's where you're gonna be in the future. I think too many kids kind of get caught up in like where you're ranked right now instead of the bigger picture in the long haul. How did you deal with that when you were in high school?
Yeah, like I kind of said earlier, I was out to get everybody that doubted me. So I remember at the end of my sophomore year, there was a source in Indiana that came out with the top 82 players in my class, and they didn't include me in it in Indiana. And that drove me. I put it up on my wall. I was out to prove them wrong, but like you said, like it does not matter what people rank you at as a sophomore in high school. It's about how hard you work, getting better each and every day, being the best you that you can be. There's going to be guys that are better than you, and that might be at that level, but you can catch up to guys at the next level if you continue to work. So I think it's just about keeping your head down, staying focused, and working hard every day, and becoming the best you that you can be, because people are going to doubt you no matter what. So don't worry about other people's opinion, and work on your game, move forward, and be the best you that you can be.
I love it. Being the best you can be is definitely a great motto to live by, because honestly, your biggest competition is yourself every day.
For sure.
There's no one out. I mean, it doesn't really matter what other people think of you. They're going to have your opinions. You kind of hit on it earlier with your faith and just what God does in your life to be the best person to make God happy at the end of the day.
Yes,
like there's one place to go when, well, I guess there's two places to go once you die, but you want to go to one of them. How's it been kind of playing in the NBA, growing up, watching all these people you're playing against or with? How has that been for you? Like, you're on the same court as LeBron James or other people that you grew up loving. How has that played a role?
Yeah, it's been kind of surreal. I mean, I haven't gotten a ton of opportunities. I've only played in 3 games, but just to be in the same league and be there watching those guys, knowing that you have to be ready because you might get thrown in the game and you might have to go up against those guys. But it's been pretty surreal to see guys like that up close and personal. I think last night was the coolest one for me. Just being a shooter, I got to like see JJ Redick play up close and personal, the way he moves, how he cuts, how he gets into a shot. And that's been the most surreal to me. We've played LeBron. We've played those guys, but that was the coolest one to me, was just like guys that you study their film, that now you're in the same league and you can play against. That's pretty cool to me.
Did you have a chance to like chat it up with JJ or what?
No, they're pretty strict on communication. So I've talked to one guy, and that was Keelan. We had to go meet up and forget about the rules on that one.
No, I love it. Outside of basketball, like, what's one thing that like you really love to do?
I think the biggest thing is just hang out with my wife, hang out with the pets, go on walks, just things to get away from the crazy world, the crazy life that I'm in right now, and just kind of relax and be with the person that I love most, and then with the pets, and just step away from everything that's going on and take a deep breath and kind of even myself back out.
That's all you need. You need to kind of space out from basketball a little bit, especially when you're in it 24/7. You need someone to, get your mind outside of it a little bit. So, Sean, I appreciate you coming on here, man. It's been an honor. Just thanks for just sharing your stories, sharing your journey, sharing your faith. I appreciate it, man. You're one of my favorites, so
yeah, I appreciate it. One of mine, one of the best point guards I've ever seen. So I appreciate you.
No problem. Actually, one more question. Do you remember your first bucket from college and the league?
I don't from college, and from the league, my first points were free throws, but my first bucket was a dunk against the Celtics. So no one would have thought that Sean McDermott's first bucket would be a dunk.
No, I love it. Well, I appreciate you, Sean. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.